She was born into poverty with hands that shook. Everyone said she'd never amount to anything. Then she made a pot that changed everything, but not in the way anyone expected. In a small village where red clay was abundant and pottery was the main trade, there lived a girl named Amina. Her father was the village's best potter, famous across 3 regions for his beautiful water jugs and cooking pots. People traveled for days to buy his work. But Amina was born with a problem. Her hands trembled. Not all the time, but whenever she tried to do delicate work, her fingers would shake uncontrollably. When she was 7, her father tried to teach her pottery, as was tradition. Every potter's child learned the craft. But when Amina tried to shape the clay on the wheel, her shaking hands made the pot wobble and collapse. "It's all right, daughter," her father said kindly. "Try again." She tried. 10 times. 20 times. 50 times. Every pot collapsed. Every vessel broke. Every bowl came out crooked and useless. The other children laughed at her. "Amina's shaky hands," they would say. "The potter's daughter who can't make a pot." Even the adults whispered. "Poor man," they said about her father. "His only child, and she can't continue his craft. What will happen to his legacy?" Amina's father never complained or showed disappointment. But Amina saw the sadness in his eyes. She knew she was failing him. By the time she was 15, Amina had accepted her fate. She would never be a potter. Instead, she helped her father in other ways, gathering clay from the riverbank, collecting firewood for the kiln, selling finished pots at the market. She was good at these things. But they weren't pottery. One day, a wealthy merchant came to the village. He wanted to commission a special set of pots for his daughter's wedding, 50 identical vessels, all perfectly crafted, all ready in 3 months. It was the biggest order Amina's father had ever received. The payment would support their family for a year. But it was also more work than one man could do alone in 3 months. "I'll need help," her father said that evening. "I'll have to hire another potter to work with me." "Use the money to hire someone good," Amina said. "Don't worry about me." But her father looked troubled. Hiring another potter meant paying wages, which would reduce their profit significantly. And there was another problem: no potter wanted to work under someone else. They had their own styles, their own pride. Collaboration between potters rarely worked well. That night, Amina couldn't sleep. She sat outside under the moon, staring at her treacherous hands. "Why?" she whispered. "Why did I have to be born this way? Why couldn't I just have normal hands?" She picked up a piece of leftover clay her father had discarded, too small for a pot, too irregular in shape. Just trash, really. Without thinking, without trying to make anything in particular, she began to work it with her fingers. Her hands shook as always. But this time, she didn't fight it. She didn't try to control it. She just let her fingers move, let them press and pull and shape the clay however they wanted. When she finished, she had created something strange. It wasn't a pot. It wasn't useful. It was just a shape. An abstract form that curved and twisted in unexpected ways. The trembling of her hands had created textures and patterns that couldn't be made with steady fingers. She was about to throw it away when her father came out and saw it. "What is that?" he asked. "Nothing," Amina said, embarrassed. I don't know. My hands were moving and this happened." Before we continue, please take a moment to like, comment and subscribe to my channel, Storyline Haven. Thank you. Amina's father picked it up and turned it over in his hands, examining it carefully in the moonlight. "This is beautiful," he said softly. "It's not even a pot," Amina protested. "It's useless." "Not everything has to be useful to have value," her father said. "This is art. Pure art. I've been making functional pots my whole life, and they are good pots. But this is something else. This looks amazing. Amina looked at her creation with new eyes. Maybe he was right. Maybe it wasn't useless. Maybe it was just different. Make more, her father encouraged. See what else your hands can create when you stop trying to make them behave like everyone else's. Over the next weeks, while her father worked on the merchant's order, Amina experimented. She made strange sculptures. Abstract shapes. Figures that seemed to dance. Animals that looked like they were caught mid-motion. Every piece was marked by the texture of her trembling hands, a unique signature that steady hands could never replicate. She wasn't trying to make pots anymore or trying to be like her father. She was just being herself. One day, a traveler passing through the village saw Amina's sculptures drying in the sun. "Who made these?" he asked. "I did," Amina said shyly. "These are extraordinary," the traveler said. "I'm an art dealer. I travel to the capital city where wealthy people collect unique pieces. I've never seen work like this. Would you sell them?" Amina was stunned. "You want to buy them? But they are not even useful. They are just shapes." The dealer laughed. "Young woman, do you know what the wealthy value most? Not another cooking pot, they have servants to make those. They value uniqueness. Originality. Something no one else has. Your work is unlike anything I've seen. These trembling textures, these organic forms, they're your signature. No one else can make them because no one else has hands like yours." He bought all 10 sculptures she had made, paying more than her father earned from a month of selling cooking pots. Word spread. The art dealer returned with more buyers. Wealthy collectors from the capital came to the village specifically to see the trembling potter and her unique work. Within the shortest period of time, Amina was more famous than her father. Not for making perfect pots, but for making imperfect art that somehow captured something perfect: movement, emotion, life itself frozen in clay. Her father was proud beyond measure. "I tried to teach you to make pots like mine," he told her one evening. "But you were meant to make something I never could. Your hands aren't broken, daughter. They are just different. And different is what makes you special." But the story takes an unexpected turn. The wealthy merchant who had commissioned the 50 pots came to collect them. He examined each one carefully and nodded with satisfaction. "Perfect work, as expected. You are truly a master." Then he noticed Amina's sculptures displayed nearby. "What are these strange things?" "My daughter's work," Amina's father said proudly. The merchant picked one up and frowned. "This is wrong. It's crooked. Uneven. Look at these shaking lines in the texture. This is clearly the work of an unskilled hand. You should teach your daughter properly instead of letting her waste clay on these deformed pieces." Before her father could respond, Amina spoke up. "Sir, with respect, they are not deformed. They are designed this way. My hands shake, so I create work that celebrates that shaking instead of fighting it. The textures you see as mistakes are actually my signature style." The merchant laughed mockingly. "Signature style? That's a fancy way of saying you lack skill. Real art requires control, precision, perfection. These sculptures are just failed attempts at proper pottery." He turned to leave with his 50 perfect pots, still chuckling at what he saw as Amina's delusion. Amina felt her face burn with shame. Her father put a hand on her shoulder. "Don't listen to him. He doesn't understand." "But maybe he's right," Amina said quietly. "Maybe I'm just making excuses for my lack of skill. Maybe my sculptures are just failed pots that I'm pretending are art." For days, Amina stopped working. The merchant's words had planted doubt in her heart. Was she really an artist, or was she just a failed potter fooling herself and others? Then something happened that changed everything. A delegation arrived from the capital city. They were representatives of the royal family. The king's wife had seen one of Amina's sculptures and wanted to meet her. Terrified and honored, Amina traveled to the capital with her father. She was brought before the queen, who sat surrounded by luxury and beauty, perfect tapestries, flawless pottery, immaculate paintings. "I have spent my life surrounded by perfection," the queen said, gesturing to the art around her. "Every piece in this palace is made by master craftsmen. Not a single flaw anywhere." She picked up one of Amina's sculptures, a dancing figure whose trembling textures made it seem alive with movement. "This piece," the queen continued, "is imperfect. I can see the uneven curves. But that's exactly what makes it beautiful. It has life in it. It has emotion. It has humanity. Perfection is for gods. Imperfection is for humans. And I am tired of being surrounded by godly perfection. I want human beauty." The queen commissioned Amina to create sculptures for the royal palace. Not hidden away, but displayed prominently in the main hall where all visitors could see them. When Amina returned to her village, she was different. The merchant's mockery no longer bothered her. She understood now that there would always be people who only valued perfection, who saw anything different as wrong. But there would also be people who saw beauty in imperfection, strength in differences, art in what others called mistakes. Just like that, she was successful and became great. Years passed. Amina's fame grew than she could imagine. Students came to learn from her, but she couldn't teach them to make work like hers. They didn't have shaking hands. She could only teach them the principle: don't hide your differences, celebrate them. Don't fight your limitations, transform them into your unique strengths. One day, a young girl came to Amina's workshop. The girl's right arm was twisted from birth, shorter than the left, with limited movement. "Everyone says I'm useless," the girl said, crying. "I can't farm properly. I can't weave. I can't do anything normal people do. What's wrong with me?" Amina knelt down and took the girl's twisted arm gently. "Nothing is wrong with you. You're just different. And different people create different things. Things the world has never seen before. Things only you can make." She handed the girl a piece of clay. "Make something. Don't try to make what you think you should make. Just make what your hands, exactly as they are, want to make." The girl hesitated, then began to work the clay. Her twisted arm moved in unusual ways, creating curves and angles that normal hands couldn't achieve. Within an hour, she had created something strange and beautiful, a sculpture that looked like wind frozen in time. Amina smiled. "See? That's your signature. That's what makes you special. The world has enough normal. The world needs your different." Amina lived to be an old woman, famous throughout the land. At her funeral, hundreds of people came, not just potters and artists, but people from all walks of life who had been touched by her message. A young potter spoke at the funeral. "Amina taught us that sometimes, our imperfections are not obstacles to overcome, they are gifts to unwrap. She showed us that the things we're ashamed of, the things we try to hide, the things that make us different, those are exactly the things that make us valuable." On her grave, they placed not a perfect pot, but one of her trembling sculptures. And beneath it, they carved these words: "She had shaking hands and made the world dance." And so the story teaches, your weakness might be your greatest strength in disguise. The thing you think disqualifies you might be exactly what qualifies you for something nobody else can do. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Stop apologizing for being different. Stop hiding the things that make you unique. Because in a world full of identical pots, there's someone who creates something no one has ever seen before. That's not a failure. That's a revolution. Your imperfections are not mistakes. They're your signature. They're what make your work recognizably yours in a world full of copies.